Who want one last trip to the long trail?
In Tekken 8, we finally got an answer as to how Heihachi Mishima survived the death blow from Kazuya Mishima and also being thrown into the volcano. And in this video, I want to talk about it, but in future videos, I will be talking about different elements of the story. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and stay tuned for those videos. We're going to be talking about Reina, we're going to be talking about Eddie, Yoshi, Lydia. I have a few ideas. But for this video in particular, this was a major question that everyone had on their minds, and the answer that we got didn't really satisfy a lot of players. If you look on Twitter, the way that they categorize the release of Heihachi Mishima is the mixed reception to Heihachi's return in Tekken 8. That is not the best headline you would want for one of the best Tekken characters. Now, talking about the story side of it, honing in on the death of Heihachi. First thing you have to acknowledge is, how did he actually die? In Tekken 7, Kazuya Mishima and Heihachi Mishima both fought to the death. In that fight to the death in that lava volcano area, at the end of it, Kazuya Mishima mustered up all the power he could, ran up and punched Heihachi in the chest. That punch sent shockwaves, and basically what it did is it stopped Heihachi's heartbeat. You can hear the heartbeat go bum bum, bum bum, bum bum. It starts to slow down, and then the last one it goes bum. Just one, not two, bump, bump. And what that is the heart giving up. And that happens before Heihachi even hits the ground. The developers confirmed that his heartbeat stopped, and that's what killed him. And the reason why Kazuya Mishima then goes on to throw him in a volcano is not because he really wants to kill him. Heihachi's already dead. The reason why he does it is because Heihachi did it to him. If you guys remember back in Tekken 3, when Heihachi killed Kazuya, he threw his lifeless body into a volcano. Now, his body fell on a ledge. G Corporation picked his body up and resurrected him later. Kazuya was told that story of what happened, what Heihachi tried to do to him, and that's why Kazuya picks up Heihachi's lifeless body and tried to throw him in the volcano. Just because you tried to do it to me, now I'm going to do it to you. So that is how Heihachi died. Punch to the chest, icing on the top, is throwing him in a volcano. Now, the way that Tekken 8 explained Heihachi's resurrection from this is riddled with not only plot holes, confusion, but also, you just gotta be honest and say, bad writing. The reason Heihachi is back live in the flesh is because the buff monk, that's just what I'm gonna call him, buff monk, basically risked his life to save Heihachi Mishima. When you pay attention to Kazuya throwing Heihachi's body down the volcano, Kazuya just doesn't walk away, he just doesn't turn around. First off, he looks for about a couple of seconds. Then he starts to give this victory speech about how only the strongest can survive. Then it cuts to black. Over that whole duration of time, Kazuya is watching Heihachi's body fall. And with the distance that the camera shows us, Heihachi should most certainly hit the lava by then. And some players say if you listen hard enough, you can even hear Heihachi hit the lava. I listened to it a few times and I couldn't pinpoint exactly where it was, but some players have been able to, right? Now, to tell us that the buff monk was able to jump and catch Heihachi before he hit the lava and not be seen by Kazuya is a huge stretch. And then also what you got to keep in mind is Kazuya is not the only one witnessing this fight. Via satellite technology, Lars, Alyssa, Lee, and the Tekken 7 journalists are all watching Kazuya Mishima and Heihachi fight to the death. So you mean to tell me that not even those guys were able to see the buff guy doing all of this stuff to try to get into a position to catch Heihachi? It's just too much for us to believe. The developers probably see our reaction to Heihachi and us saying it doesn't make sense. But the route that I think they're going to try and go to make it make sense is Akuma. For those of you who know about Akuma's special ending, as soon as Kazuya throws Heihachi off the cliff, Akuma tries to shoot a fireball at Kazuya, and he dodges it. So in that instance, his focus shifts from Heihachi to Akuma, and that's probably when the Muck jumps to grab Heihachi. But as we previously established, how long Kazuya was standing there already should 100% guaranteed that Heihachi hit the lava. Now, let's move on from that point, because I think we all can agree that the buff Muck jumping in and catching Heihachi before he hit the lava, and also without Kazuya detecting him, is ridiculous. But what I think is even more ridiculous is, why would the buff Muck save Heihachi anyways? For those of you who paid attention when playing the story, you know that the Tekken Mucks, as they're called, they are basically Mishima purists. They are like the most purebred Mishimas. They go on to say that Heihachi, Kazuya, and Jin Kazama were ruining the Mishima name. They were tainting the fighting style, they were tainting the legacy, and that's why they stayed away from those guys, because they were really just like a stain on the Mishima fighting style and name. So when a game tells you that, you then have to think about it again. Why would this buff guy risk his life to save Heihachi Mishima? Because as they showed us in the story, he is not strong enough to defeat Heihachi, and so if Kazuya spots him, he would be in the same situation. Kazuya would turn into devil form, go down there and clap his cheeks, and he would be in the lava too. So it doesn't make sense for the buff Monk to put his life on the line to save Heihachi. Also, Heihachi is incredibly evil. Why did you resurrect someone? Okay, so let's get past him doing the impossible, catching Heihachi before he hits the lava. Let's get past the nonsensical, which is this guy risking his life for no reason at all, for someone he says he hates. Now let's shift our focus on the fact that Heihachi is evil. They resurrected Heihachi. He had amnesia upon being resurrected, and he was good. But what if Heihachi wasn't good? You mean to tell me they would have resurrected Heihachi, he would have been evil, and he would have immediately destroyed all of them? It doesn't make sense whatsoever for the buff monks to not only despise Heihachi and Jin and Kazuya, but also to resurrect someone who would immediately cause damage to him if he is evil. The whole story relies on Heihachi waking up and having amnesia, and there's no way that the buff monks could know that he would have amnesia upon waking up. So if you resurrect a evil Heihachi, he's going to kill you. So why, once again, did the buff monk do that? I think those several points that I just laid out is why this whole thing is absolutely bad. It just doesn't make sense whatsoever. It's just, and this is why we assumed that the buff monks were created by Heihachi or some spin-off of Heihachi. Maybe they worship him or something, because any other option does not make sense. He is far too dangerous for them to be playing around, risking their lives for him, and resurrecting him. He's far too dangerous. And the story shows us that with Heihachi literally killing everyone. But now, let's move on to the final point why a lot of players think that this is absolute trash. And simply because it retcons all the progress of Tekken 7. Tekken 7 was hyped up as the final battle between Heihachi and Kazuya. I will put tweets and screenshots on the screen so you can see how the developers were talking about Heihachi Mishima and Kazuya Mishima leading up to the release of Tekken 8 and even after, right? This was said to be like one of the greatest events in Tekken. This was supposed to be a huge milestone, is what I think Harada said. And then for them to just immediately retcon it in the next game is something that players are furious about. For the past 3 games, the canonical games, Tekken 8, 7, and 6, they have retcons major things about the story. Jin was a bad guy in Tekken 6. In the next game, they retconned that. In Tekken 7, they retconned the entire origin of the Devil Gene and how it works. People didn't like that. In Tekken 8, they are now retconning what Tekken 7 did, and that is killing Heihachi and closing the chapter on his story. Players will not be invested in your story because they will assume you would do some weird retcon in the future. For example, Jin and Kazuya lost their Devil Gene in Tekken 8. Players will automatically assume in Tekken 9 that will be retconned for some reason, and the developers will say, no, they still have it. We need Devil Jin in the game, so give Jin Kazama his Devil Gene back. Kazuya, he can't be the weakest one. Give him. This is just what Retconning your story over and over and over will do to the franchise opinion, interpretation, and also how invested they can be in the story.
Alright, so they just said Heihachi survived because this guy jumped in the way and saved him from the lava. Let me just pull up Tekken 7 real quick